Hi, welcome to Finding the Word. It's Melanie Brown, and I am doubling up again. I am, and I'm excited about it. This is really Saturday and Sunday's word being connected with Monday and Tuesday's word, because I really hated that I missed those. So you're getting a special doubled up deal so that you'll still be able to have these words. I've got a ton of words. Tons of words just sitting really to address and deal with. I've just got to do them when the Spirit says to do them. One thing that bugs me is I have all these words with people that are not ready to talk about the words, especially Owe, the oldest son. He has so many words connected with him because we have these conversations. Words just fly left and right. And I'm like, we've got to talk about this. We should have the cameras on. This is great. What you're saying is wonderful. I'm almost ready, Mom. You know what? I'm almost done with what I'm doing, and then we can... So I'm just going to have to be patient. And what I have learned is there is a time for these words, and when they come, it'll be right on time. I just got to remember that. But in the meantime, it gets under my skin just a little bit. So the word is situation that I was coming to talk about when I found the note. And when I found the note, it just set me off down the path of note. And I knew it. And that was a really good word. I do not regret that. But now I'm getting to the word I was going to talk about in the first place. As a benefits counselor for insurance for these places that I go, you meet with all kinds of people. And what I realized today, just today, talking to people, is how many different various situations that people are in. Just some of them very difficult situations. And so in a given day, like today, few situations, someone was wanting to really set their insurance up well for their loved ones because they had a close friend who was hit by a car and killed. And they realized that this person had really set their spouse up well so that they didn't have anything to worry about once they were gone. And it really struck them. And they were realizing, like, I need to make sure that I have my family set up. I don't know what can happen. I would want it to be the same way for my loved ones as well. And so there was that. And I'm thinking, oh, because this was a very close friend of hers. And she said it's changed her life forever. Then I had someone who was telling me that their child was born with their organs on the outside of the body. And that they had to go through all of these surgeries and things to get that corrected, and their child has handicaps, and that even at 20 years old, I want to say, they just got the trach out, just got the feeding tube out. They only have about 5 different things, like mashed potatoes and applesauce and pudding and things. It's all they'll eat because they have not had textures in the mouth for so long, for their whole life, to where there's only a few things that they could tolerate. Whole world that just with a situation I have no knowledge of that this person is living through. Then someone else was telling me that their adult child had an injury. They had an accident. They hit their head during this sporting accident, and they're no longer able to function as they were. They're in a wheelchair. And this has only happened maybe 6 months ago. And she's trying her hardest to make it through and to process. And it has filled her with anxiety, she was saying. So now she can't focus and she gets worked up and she realizes this could happen to her other children, and it just overtakes her from time to time. So she has that. And people who had taken in children. One woman had taken in 5 children. She's a foster parent. And some of the devastating situations the children were in that she was taking them out of and providing care for them. And then there was someone who was a cancer survivor. Another lady was telling me that she's had brain surgery and how she was falling and things for most of her life. And it turns out that her skull was not big enough to hold her brain. So it was bulging and doing all these things. They had to go in and do surgery, which is miraculous by itself that they could open this up and fix it and put her back together, and she's doing great. So, point being that I realized that from that to people I've spoken to whose spouses have recently passed away. A lady just lost her husband not quite a year ago. This coming Christmas will be the 1st year anniversary. And she is dealing with that. And it was a long, hard battle with cancer. So on and on. So what I was thinking about was, these are the same people who are dealing with all these different situations that we encounter as we're going through life. These are the people on the road driving. These are the people that are in the grocery store, or who are working as customer service, or who we talk to on the phone if we have to call into someplace, or they're at the bank when we go there. This is who's at the restaurant, who's serving, who is your server at the table. And I only know about these situations because it happens to be the nature of the conversations we're having, working through which benefits are good for them, what they may need for their family, what they've been going through, who needs to be removed because they're no longer with them as their beneficiaries or whatever. And that's the only reason that I know and can provide sympathy or empathy for how they're feeling and talk with them. But what I felt in my spirit is that this is how we have to remember to deal with people, whether we know or not, because there's everyone dealing with different situations. Everyone has things going on that can create sadness or despair, and for others, hostility and anger. And they may be working their way through these difficult situations, and you could be catching them on a bad day. There's no reason to retaliate with the same type of feelings that you're given by someone. People can be coming out of very difficult problems and issues that result in their inability to know how to handle it. And without the love of the Lord, without knowing Christ, it's hard for me to imagine how people are making it through these things anyway. It's the fact that Christ is actually helping them through it. Sometimes people just don't know him yet. So we want to be the person who introduces them through the light in our life. So I looked up situations and situation took me to Philippians this time, and it's about being thankful for gifts. We've probably read this passage before, and I don't mind reading it again. I never mind reading the passages again. I'm usually always getting something else. So it's Philippians 4:10 through 13. I rejoice greatly in the Lord that at last you renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. And I'm not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. That is one of my favorite scriptures, one that I have on a lot of things, one that I would write on my notebooks and things that I was working on, different projects, and just needing to be reminded always that I can do all things through Christ. And even when I feel discouraged like I cannot, this is what the word says. I absolutely can. And to speak over myself with those words and be reminded of those words that the Lord is speaking to us. And so knowing what it is to be in need, knowing what it is to have plenty or to be content when you do have plenty or when you don't, that is definitely a secret and a mystery, it said when I looked up the word secret, of being content. There's a mystery there because contentment is not something that's common. I mean, I feel like the opposite of contentment is being really kind of ungrateful. Gratefulness brings contentment to me because you're thankful and you're grateful. And it brings about an attitude of being very content with the things and what God has given to you. But I feel like when we get to be ungrateful, we're not thankful for things, I think that brings about a lack of contentment. So we have to remember to worship and praise. I think that's the secret. Be thankful, be grateful, worship and praise for whatever you have, and you will be thankful, you will be content. And so that probably is a good start anyways. If not the full secret, it's a good start to the secret of being able to be content in all things. And we need to check ourselves on that. The next time that something's going on and we're feeling frustrated, we're not grateful, we're not thankful, we need to be reminded reminded of this passage. Do we know how to truly be content in all circumstances, in every situation? Definitely, this is a goal that I want to strive for. I want to be able to say that. I do feel like I've been up and down quite a bit, I feel like lately, for sure. And I do feel very grateful, very thankful, and quite a bit of contentment. So this is a place that I'm getting to, and a place that I'm definitely striving to be, in that spot where I can say at all times, I've got that secret. I know exactly how to be content in every situation. And so this is appreciated as well. What the Spirit is saying is, there are so many people that are walking through life that we're encountering that are in the middle of some type of situation. More than we realize, more than we know. Because for me to talk to people and hear all of these things that I would know nothing about, these are the same people we're encountering. We ourselves, maybe just within the last year, could have had different situations we're going through. And Christ has been so faithful in our lives to allow us to grow to the point where we can work through these situations with a whole different space in our minds than we were in just 6 months ago. And so I know what a difference that growth has made within me. So as we encounter people who don't know the Lord, be the light and love that gives them an opportunity to get to know Christ through the light and the love that you're showing them. Then you have the opportunity for someone to be able to get through their situations in a totally different way. An opportunity for them to be able to see their situations differently and to grow with the love of the Lord and to be able to walk it out with the type of hope that we have. But this word situation, I'm going to be thinking about, because just because you don't know what's going on and a person can appear to be ugly or whatever, you don't know what situation that they are working their way through. So let's just try to be light and love to everyone that we meet, just in case. Don't forget to find the word, and I will see you tomorrow.